Because the parties try to garner the votes of such a geographically and culturally diverse nation, and the political interests represented are also diverse, it can be hard to define exactly what the two parties stand for. Generally, the Republican Party is more to the right or conservative, and the Democratic Party leans left or furthers more liberal viewpoints. The Republicans tend to oppose marriage rights for homosexuals and are generally pro-life, which means anti-abortion. However, the Log Cabin Republicans favor marriage rights for homosexuals, and the Republicans for Choice are, as their name implies, not against abortion. Similarly, the Democrats tend to favor spending on social programs and are more likely to support universal health care, as we have seen with the Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare. But the Blue Dog Democrats advocate for fiscal restraint, like conservatives. Conservatives support policies such as lowering barriers to trade, for example. In the late 20th century, with the Vietnam War and Watergate scandals, we have seen a de-alignment where more and more citizens become disenchanted with or disillusioned by government promises, and they choose not to declare themselves aligned with either of the two major parties, at least not publicly. Increasingly, the 21st century, there has been a call for bipartisanship, which means a call for both parties to reach across the aisle or across party lines to cooperate, to get work done, and to stop gridlock. A growing number of people have decided to become independents, and many of these are considered swing voters, or those that, in enough numbers, can swing an election away from one candidate and in favor of another. Many historians attribute Democrat presidential candidates Al Gore's loss in the year 2000, he lost by 4 electoral college votes only to George W. Bush, to the presence of a third-party candidate, Ralph Nader. He represented the Green Party. In this case, because many believed he caused that loss, he can be referred to as a spoiler. In 2004, Ralph Nader ran again, this time as an independent. People registered as independents are less likely to vote in elections compared to Republicans and Democrats. But the reason that dissension within the parties does not lead to the formation of multiple parties is because, as discussed in the previous module, Module 3.1.1, the U.S. favors a two-party system. What would encourage the formation of more parties? Well, many other Western democracies, such as Canada, have a multi-party system where major candidates are required to get a plurality of the votes. Again, plurality means more votes than any other candidate. Many democracies have chosen to have voters pick their preferred party and allow the party to select the individuals who serve in government. The argument for this method is that it is ultimately the party and not the individual who will influence policy, and therefore personal leadership styles play less of a role in the overall formation of the policies. Under this model of proportional representation, legislative seats are allocated to competing parties based on the total share of votes they receive in the election. As a result, any given election can have multiple winners, and voters who might prefer a smaller party over a major one have a chance to be represented in government. The U.S. has seen many third parties or minor parties develop, but they are usually short-lived. Third parties form because their leaders and supporters feel that the major parties are not addressing their concerns. But third parties are effective when they dramatize these issues and these positions that are being ignored by the major parties. The major third parties and the role of these parties is discussed in the next module, Module 3.1.4. So continue viewing this module and reading your textbook and answer the questions thoroughly.